Wargamers, welcome to another section in our Dark Angels Week analysis of the new Codex. So tonight we're going to be talking about the Elite section. I believe that is what I said in the previous video that we would be jumping to next. I neglected to see that the troops were wedged in between the HQs and the Elites, so we're going to skip them for now and we'll come back to them in another video probably later today or tomorrow, most likely tomorrow. This should be going up on Monday of this week, so this will start us out in the actual work week, but we do have an HQs video already up. If you haven't seen that one already, click the link. I'll put an annotation here on the screen and you can go check it out. I'm going to be flying solo on this one tonight since Chris could not join me for this one, so I hope to be entertaining enough for both of us. So let's get started. The first entry in the Elites section of the Army list is the Company Veteran Squad. Now, I do really like these models, but right now we're not here to talk about the models so much as tactics and what you can use them for. So I'm looking through these, and it doesn't seem that there's a tremendous amount that you can do with them that you couldn't do with a tactical squad, except that you get to give them more special weapons, really. I guess that's the big thing. That is kind of a special thing. You get to give them just a boatload of special weapons. You can really make them a multi-purpose unit, but honestly, I'm not in favor of multi-purpose units. In fact, personally, I like to have the whole army in one sort of vein where your whole army has a purpose of we're going to shoot or we're going to assault. With Blood Angels, you're just going to assault everybody's face off without any issue. And some of this does come from one of the other guys at Mini Wargaming. I haven't ever actually talked to him in person, strangely, or I haven't talked to any of him in person. I haven't actually been up there, but I haven't talked to him directly. But Owen, who plays Tau, actually has some really good tactics on running just shooting armies, and some words of wisdom on that and why you should run all one or all the other for the most part. Just meaning that you can shoot a lot, okay, if you're set up to shoot and you have that one support unit that's an assault unit, as soon as that gets tied up in combat, you've got nothing else to assist it with because everything else shoots and you can't shoot into combat. So you kind of it pays off to be more of a one-trick pony. But honestly, with Marines, because they're so middle of the road, you can really sort of multi-purpose things because things can assault and shoot well. Look at Grey Knights, for instance. You've got an entire army that is equipped to both kill you from range with lots of Cybolt ammo, assault weapons, or get close on you and use all their force weapons to just murder you. So, back to this codex now that I've rambled on a bit about that. You've got lots of really great special weapons options. You can equip up to 3 of them in each squad with storm bolters, combi weapons, power weapons, lightning claws, plasma pistols, power fists, lightning claws, a pair of lightning claws, and any model can take either of the shields, the combat shields or storm shields, and melt bombs. So those can go to anybody, and for every 5 you have in the squad. So if you just start out with 5 in the company veteran squad, because that's what they come in. They come in a box of 5. You can go ahead and put a flamer, melt-a-gun, plasma gun in there with them, and up to 1 in the squad, no matter what size it is, so long as it meets the minimum requirements, which are 5. You can put a heavy bolter, a multi-melta, or a missile launcher in the unit. Now, and these missile launchers can take the flak grenades, unlike most of the other standard Marine squads. The other exception is the Chaos Marines, which just came out, so they've got flak missiles on their missile launcher, and I believe, sneak peeking back to the tactical squad here, they can also take flak missiles. So, nice addition to that, very handy for doing some anti-air from your infantry, so that's nice. It is an extra upgrade on top of taking the rocket launcher though, so you will pay some points for it. You can also take plasma cannon, of course. They love plasma, and las cannon. So one of those can go for each squad. And then for every 5, so if you do a max 10, you can throw in 2 of the special weapons. So you've got up to 3 of the sort of lower special weapons, like the pistols and the combis and the everything else, and the special close combat weapons. And then you can do, for a full 10-man squad, you can do up to 2 of the special weapons and 1 of the heavy weapons. I'm not a real big fan of running heavy weapons in my infantry squads, just because you move with a heavy weapon and you're going to be snap firing at best. With some of the other ones like the plasma cannon, you're not going to be firing at all because they've moved and you can't snap fire with a template weapon. I guess the analysis here, I'm looking at the point cost, which I can't give you in this video just because I'm not allowed to give you full stat line or costing for that. I believe that is the case. But as I'm looking through this, it's about on par with most Marine squads. They're slightly more than the tactical Marines by a handful of points, and they've got pretty much all the same special rules and same war gear built in. They've got their array of grenades and pistols and bolters and things that you would normally have on a veteran squad, but they do also have the special Dark Angels Grim Resolve rule, which we've talked about in previous videos, but I will recap for you real quick. It's just a combination of 2 other special rules from the main rulebook, which are Stubborn and... oh wait, it's not 2. I said this last time and I corrected myself. You get Stubborn special rule, and you cannot choose to automatically fail a morale check. So you must always pass when you can. Let's see. So that kind of negates part of the benefit of And They Shall Know No Fear, which lets you, make a strategic retreat or run away if things are too crazy. Overall, pretty standard veteran squad. You get your stat line boosts where you normally would. In the attacks section, you get extra attacks, and your leadership is better across the board, even for the standard trooper. So it's a good unit, and I think it's worth it if you really want to take a lot of special weapons and some close combat weapons. I think that this would make it for a very nice close combat squad. You could also take the assault troops, which are, I believe, in the fast attack section, the assault squads. But the veterans are going to have more attacks overall, and they just won't be as mobile, obviously, as the assault squads because they don't have jetpacks. So yeah, the veterans are rather nice. You can trick them out with quite a lot of the special weapons and heavy weapons and special hand weapons and close combat stuff. So, and you can just deck them out completely in close combat weapons if you like. So they make a very nice addition to your army in the elite slot. But I'll say I probably wouldn't take so many of them just because they would fight for a slot, which you only have 3 in a standard force organization chart. With the Terminators, which are quite nice in this new codex, if I do say so myself. And I will preface this, this is a warning, I am absolutely enthralled and obsessed and hopelessly in love with Deathwing. So if I start to go a little crazy and sound like I am just a insano Deathwing fanboy, just, you've been warned. I love Terminators, I love heavy armor. That's my thing. So I'm going to talk about this, but I'm going to try and stay objective and give you the best advice that I can. One one note here is if you're looking to fill up your elite slots, but you need something to get you a little bit more or a little cheaper points-wise, and perhaps well, just less of a point sink for the same number of warm bodies on the field. The company veteran squad is nice. It doesn't take up a troop slot. If you're already playing to a large size game and you just need to pack in some more shots and some more wounds to have your enemy soak up, they are a good and viable option. And they are significantly cheaper than any of the Terminators. The two flavors of Terminator, the Knights, which are the close combat experts, and the Deathwing Terminators, who are still fine in close combat, but they specialize in carrying around lots of heavy weapons. So, just so you know, the veteran squad is a good choice if you're looking for more of, I guess, as horde army as you can get with Space Marines. You're gonna have to take lots of power armor and less Terminators. So I like my armies elite heavy just because I like low model count. It feels more epic that way. So you know, pardon my affliction here. Anyway, let's move on to the Deathwing Terminators. They come in basically a unit of 5 to start out with, and you can push them all the way up to 10. You can give them all a variety of different close combat weapons if you like. You don't have to. You can essentially make your normal, I guess, close combat, your Storm Shield, Thunder Hammer, or Double Lightning Claw Terminators with these guys. But personally, I think that you'd be better served using all of your close combat stuff on the Deathwing Knights, which are a little bit more expensive, but not as much as you might think. They're really just a couple of points more expensive than the Terminator squad, and they have some really awesome special rules that on occasion, when saves are made or saves are failed by your opponent, can really help you to just mop up in close combat. It's lots of reduction in weapon skill for your opponent, and just ways that you can dominate the battlefield and keep your Terminators safe, and really make it just that much harder for your opponent to kill them. So the Deathwing Terminators do have the options to take quite a few different heavy weapons. I say quite a few, it's only really like 4, but you can take Heavy Flamer, Plasma Cannon, Assault Cannon, and Missile Launcher, and I believe they're the only ones currently in the game that they can take Plasma Cannons on their Terminators. It's pretty cool. I'm not really... I'm sure that if I read all the fluff, I'd understand why it is that Dark Angels love plasma like a kid loves ice cream. They don't really have anything. I was kind of expecting, and maybe this just shows my inexperience with some of the Dark Angels history at this point. I was kind of hoping that they would have some kind of rule that would help them mitigate Gets Hot, but I'm just not seeing it here. So I know that Gets Hot isn't like the end-all be-all kind of thing here. You know, you fail to fire it gets hot, and then you make an armor save, and on Terminator armor, you're pretty well likely to save that. You're not going to roll, you know, a 1 twice in a row. But you know, it could happen. It's possible. Let's look at what else we have here. They can also take Chain Fists for a few points more, as opposed to their normal Power Fists. So everybody's got a Power Fist. It's great in close combat, but you can take one of the heavy weapons for every 5 guys that you have in the squad, and a really awesome part about them is they can split fire. If I'm remembering correctly from the main rule book, split fire allows them to do just that, and to focus on more than one enemy during a single shooting phase. So let me just make sure that is the case and that I am not misremembering it. So it looks like split fire really only allows you to split off one guy worth of firing, which for a 5-man squad with one heavy weapon in it, that one heavy weapon can take a slightly different purpose. So you've got all of your guys with storm bolters, and you've got the one guy with the plasma cannon, and you really want to bring the hammer down on some heavy infantry somewhere. So you bring out the plasma cannon, you drop a template on them, they're all formed up in a nice and juicy pie plate shape, and you wipe them, and then you've got your storm bolter guys for the rest of the squad just firing into some other infantry somewhere else within range. So that is a nice feature. It helps you swallow that sometimes over large pill that is the elite choices in Space Marine codices. Just the idea of taking so few troops means that that's just that many less squads or targets that you can attack in a given turn. So that split fire helps mitigate a little bit of that. Now, it would be really nice if you could split it all up and say, well, this guy's going to shoot at this squad and this guy's going to shoot at this one, but that's just not in the cards. I think that would be a little bit complicated and just would not be fun after a while. So that's pretty much it for them. I kind of wish that their Cyclone missile launchers could take flak missiles, but I understand why they can't. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. They're trying to keep the anti-air within reason, just so that air isn't completely nerfed, much like a lot of the vehicles have been in this edition, at least in my opinion. So, the Deathwing Knights. Let's move on to them. Oh, by the way, the Terminators also have inner circles. So, in previous videos, we've talked about inner circle. I'll take a peek real fast and see if I can just find that rule real fast for us. That is not it right there. Where are you, inner circle? I bet you're with the Terminators. Here's the Terminators. No inner circle. I bet it's with Belial. Whatever. Anyway, we've explained it in a previous video. I'm not going to read you the exact wording on it, but and I can't for the life of me remember what exactly it does. If you'll give me one moment here. Oh, you know what? I bet it is at the beginning of the codex with all of the generic. Yeah, there we go. Inner circle. Basically, it gives you fearless and preferred enemy CSM. So they're awesome for punching Chaos Marines in the face until they are dead, and also they're fearless. So, you know, not that that's a really big surprise for Terminators, but good to know. Anyway, you have let's see here. Flail of the Unforgiven. I don't even remember what that is. Let's take a look at that. That sounds really awesome, and we need to know more about that because hopefully it will allow us to ruin our enemies. There we go. All the relic stuff. Okay. Flail of the Unforgiven. No special rules, but it's got a special rule called Bane of the Traitor, and it's concussive, and it's a melee weapon, so yeah. Looks like a Power Maul, essentially. If you know the stats for Power Maul, then that's pretty much it. And it looks like we also have another special weapon that this squad can take, the Mace of Absolution, and that does have, it's got like 2 modes to it. You've got normal mode and smite mode, which decreases the AP, increases the strength, but you only get to do that once. It's a one-time only type deal for the knight captain. So you get to wait until you get into combat with the thing you have to kill, and then you get to, I guess, flip the on switch and make it all powered up and super deadly. Looks like they all come standard with storm shields. They got Deathwing Assault, which is, if I'm not mistaken, rather tasty. So Deathwing Assault essentially means that you get to choose at the beginning of the game when these units are going to come in you don't have to roll for it. You just get to decide when they're going to come in. So you could say, okay, they're going to come in all second turn if you wanted to. You want to let your opponent flail around out there in the middle of the field, and then bring in the Terminators as soon as they think they're safe and are whittling away some of the guys that you've already deployed on the board. Or if you want to bring them all in late game to sweep in and clean everything up, that works too. You just have to decide at the beginning of the game. You can't just decide at the beginning of the turn, you know, okay, we're just going to bring these guys in. You have to have a plan ahead of time. And you cannot hide, which is models with a special rule that are attacking with melee weapon score a precision strike on a roll or a hit roll of 6 in the same manner as characters. So basically, you get the precision strike ability from characters on the entire unit, which is pretty nasty. You get to pick out your opponents and say that one's the one that's going to die, as opposed to just removing the ones closest. You get the options of taking those 2 relics that we talked about just a minute ago, and you can include up to 5 more, so you can flesh out this squad all the way up to 10 Deathwing Knights. You can also take transports and standard stuff. You can take Land Raider, any of the Land Raider bodies. Something else on here that was really particularly good. Oh, they get Hammer of Wrath, which is nice. So you get to slam into stuff. As you charge into combat, you get that extra attack for everybody that gets into base-to-base on the charge. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, they're very nice close combat unit for Terminators. They also have a special rule. I almost forgot this. Fortress of Shields, pretty gross. They allow these guys to basically make a phalanx of shields. So any of them that are in base-to-base with another person from their unit get a +1 bonus to their toughness, which is just, that's crazy. That's like putting a Terminator on a bike. That's nuts. Suddenly they are even more unkillable. Your threshold to wound them in close combat or shooting at them is just insanely much harder to overcome. And yeah, it's just unbelievably good to take that. I mean, you've got +1 to your toughness. You're just beating the snot out of everybody, picking out your own targets with You Cannot Hide, because you're guaranteed to roll a few 6s, because it's the whole squad now. It's not just the character. And bringing them in wherever you want, or yeah, wherever you want, whenever you want, just as long as you've planned it out, makes them quite a potent unit. And for only a few points more than the normal Terminators, if you plan on running a very close combat heavy army, this is truly a must-have. They are good at coming in late game and just eating up the remnants of other squads. Now they can't hold objectives or anything like that, and they can't be made troops choices, unlike the Terminators, which when you take Belial, or I believe it's not Samael, it's Azrael? I think it's Azrael? Hold on, let me go back to the HQs real quick. There's one other HQ choice that allows the Terminators to be taken as troops choices, and it is Azrael. Azrael and Belial are the 2 HQ choices that will allow them to become troops choices. Samael does the same thing except for Ravenwing. So we'll get to that when we talk about Fast Attack. And let's flip on back to the Elite section again. And the last entry here is the Dreadnought. Now, Dreadnoughts don't get very much love anymore. I love the models, but to be honest, they are kind of lackluster, in my opinion, when it comes to heavy support. The firepower output versus how visible and killable they are, just their survivability is not particularly good, especially with the Glance of Death. abound. I mean, they don't have particularly high armor, so you can get in glances on anything that's a little stronger than heavy bolter. So it's really not too hard, and really there's not a whole lot that's like right there at that threshold. So if you're shooting it with anything that can hurt it, for the most part, it's going to be enough to get a decent number of penetrating hits if you've got some shots to throw at it. And just because they can be locked in combat as a walker, it makes them susceptible to a lot of easy punishment, in my opinion. Now, feel free to disagree with me, and I'd love to have a discussion in the comments below about some of the things that I'm saying here. If you guys just think this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, I'd love to have a discussion about it. I promise I don't think that I'm an expert on this. These are my opinions, and from my experience in playing over the years, I'm just making some observations about the new codex. And if you guys are experts and are playing in, dominating tournaments in your area, I'd love to hear what you have to say about my comments and about the codex itself. You have a pretty standard loadout for these dreadnoughts here. You've got the normal one and the venerable one, which are both Elite's choices, and you do have some pretty cheap options, I will admit, for getting a lot of shots downfield with these guys. You've got the popular and fun to say name Rifleman Dread. I'm still in like Grey Knight mode from years ago. I always like the pun to giving it Cybolt ammo with the autocannons and calling it a Rifleman Dread instead of a Rifleman Dread. Anyway, that's beside the point. You can do the ever popular double autocannons, the double twin linked autocannons, which is really nice. You get a lot of shots downfield. You can probably even take out a flyer in a good volley or two with that. Just the sheer number of shots and the strength is probably going to bring down a lot of stuff. So it's a decent option, but it wouldn't be my first option. Much like with the company veteran squad, it's not that they're bad choices, it's just that I really like Terminators. And I'll reiterate my point from the beginning of the video about my current obsession with these Terminators. I understand there are probably tactical reasons why you wouldn't want to just completely fill up on the Elite's choices here as far as points go. It's a lot of points to spend on not very many wounds worth of models, and if you're going up against the wrong enemy, it could end very poorly for you. If they've got stuff that'll just chew through that armor, then you're toast in no time at all. But a Dreadnought is a nice way for not very many points to lay some firepower downfield, but I will say that unless you're running multiples of them, I would not expect to have any Dreadnoughts left at the end of the game. They're pretty easy to kill because they're easy to see and they're easy to damage. So those are my thoughts there. And that actually brings us to the end of our Elite section. But, like I said before, I would love to have a discussion with you in the comments here and create an interesting discussion ongoing past where this video stops. So you guys can have some interaction with me, and I can have some interaction with you guys, and you guys can have interaction with each other, and we can all learn about this codex and find new fun ways to make competitive and interesting lists out of this brand new codex, which I'm actually enjoying quite a lot. So I will say good night to all of you for now, and we will pick up probably with the troops choices. I may try to mix those in with something else for tomorrow's episode of this series during Dark Angels Week. So I hope you will tune in for that as well. Leave me some comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. We still have our contest that we're running that will end at the end of January here. January 25th, we're going to be doing a drawing, and we are giving away a fully painted 40K fantasy army. Basically anything that Mini Wargaming, who is sponsoring this event, is giving the models. We're basically working with the items that they stock, and they've given us $300 to do that. But we have a video on all the rules and everything there. So go check out our contest video on this channel for the rules and how to enter, which is basically just subscribe, and I'll put a subscription bubble here. There was one at the beginning of the video, but also like the video if you liked it, and tune in for more content just like this later on. And thanks again for watching. Happy wargaming.